Hey guys, what's up? This is Andrew for TRENDLINES.com. So in this video, I would like to focus again on the negative correlation that we have between the global markets and some very shorted stocks like AMC, GME, but we also have BBIG and ATER. So I'm going to show in this video, once again, the different mechanisms that I think I have identified between the global market and those stocks that are actually due to margin calls. And we're going to analyze what can happen this week. Let's get into it. Alright, I'm gonna here make a usual TA on AMC first. So we are on the forward time frame. You guys know this chart. We are looking for a fifth wave, alright? Fifth wave that might go probably to the 100, 130 area, even higher if we have a hard squeeze. But if you have a normal squeeze like we had here in June, then 100, 130 are the targets in this fifth wave. So we have completed 1 and 2. So the second wave got a bit deeper than expected. I was here a bit worried because we were having a fake out. And finally, we came back right on tracks with a massive move up triggered by some margin calls, I believe. The reason behind, let me show you guys that again. I add the SPY so I can compare the flows between those two stocks. And what we can see, so I added here the SPY in orange, and here you can have AMC chart. So what I'm interested in is to see what happened actually here at the very end. And you can see that usually the correlation is positive between AMC and SPY. So when the market is just going higher, normally AMC sometimes is following and even moving strongly higher. But whenever the market is dropping heavily, like it did, guys, I just remind you that it's been 2 weeks we are correcting. So the first move down is fine, but after some point, after some time, if hedges just buy the dip like they like to do, they're gonna have bigger losses and suddenly they can need money to cover some of their other positions like the shorts. So here you can see that this is what was happening. S&P was going lower at the beginning. Last Thursday, AMC was going lower too. You can see this curve is going lower, this curve is going lower. Positive correlation on the downside. And suddenly here we have a breakout at 11:30 US time, New York time. And this breakout here got followed by a strong move down, and this strong move down got followed by a massive move up, guys, on AMC by around 20%. It allowed us to break the trend line, then we found some support on this trend line, and you can see that on Friday, AMC started bullish, and then how is the correlation? Here we have a bit of messy situation, and suddenly the market rebounds at 10:30 New York time. You can see here the market is going higher and AMC is going lower. So once again, we can see this negative correlation at play. So this is very interesting to keep in mind because now we can try to make some TA on the S&P 500 and get some information about the AMC. First, let me show you quickly GME. If I add SPY here and I go on a 15 minutes time frame, okay, I take the vertical line. And we can see same thing, market going lower and suddenly still going lower. Bam, here GME going higher, and the next day it didn't move a lot. So it's not that as obvious as it is on AMC. Now ATER as well, and then I'm going to show you why I think some of those meme stocks are correlated, some other not. Let me just here show you quickly ATER. Same thing, guys. I go on a 15 minutes time frame. I add the SPY. Bam. And I observe what is happening. Okay, so you can see here, same thing, guys, at the very end of the day, S&P going higher, ATER going lower. And same thing when we had the strong move up, S&P going lower after breakout and ATER is going higher. I can show you we have the same on BBIG that closed the day a bit lower. So those four I have identified. Where do I get them from? I have my squeeze list that I get using, this spreadsheet. I here can retrieve the synthetic short and the regular short, and then I just store the information here. So here are all the stocks I have checked since I have started the spreadsheet. So you can see there are around 60 of them, and I keep a record, and then I check which of them are heavily shorted on the option market. And I can see that BBIG, GME, AMC, ATER, Marine as well are respecting this negative correlation. They all have big short interest, synthetic and regular, but some of them are not following this. For example, Groupon is heavily shorted too, but it didn't follow the correlation because the market cap is bigger. You can see here we are 600 million BBIG, we have 500 billion, so it's the same kind of thing, but it's much more heavily shorted. So I'm not still getting the full understanding of why some of them see their price going higher, probably triggered by some margin calls, and why some other don't. But there is some kind of a relation between the market cap. The smaller it is, the more likely it is that margin calls impact the price action. The synthetic short, the regular short, the gamma. So, you know, it's a bit tricky to really see which one is actually a potential squeeze following a margin calls. But those four that I have identified are on the list. So this is pretty interesting to look at. Once again, now I'm going to get rid of the S&P. I'll show you guys again my TA on AMC. So right now I go back on the fast time frame, and you can see, guys, that we have broken this trend line, which was my second wave. We are retesting perfectly this level, so it is bullish. All right, it is bullish on the long term, bullish on the short term. So let's see what next week is going to give us, but it's looking pretty good. On GME, let me get rid of that as well. And here you can see we don't have the bullish signals yet, just like we have on AMC, because here we are still stuck in this corrective pattern, but we are very close to the breakout. That would be around 180, even lower. So this trend line have moved 178, something like this. So if we start moving higher on GME, it will probably be followed by some stronger moves up. On ATER, same situation, guys. We have the breakout. Okay, so this is bullish in terms of TA. We have the long-term breakouts here. Sorry, it's not clean up. I just connect the highs that are here. And here we can see that we are hovering between 9 and 11, which is for me the neutral area. It seems like we had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 followed by an ABC that is a flat. So I don't have the very bullish signal yet here. It's just looking like the next move up can happen, and it will go together with AMC and GME. And final one, BBIG, you can see, guys, that we have a 1, 2 after breakout, and here we just broke out. We are a bit in the same situation as AMC, so I think those are all going to move together. Now let me show you quickly my TA on SPY, because like we've just seen, if the SPY moves lower, the likelihood that those margin calls happen again is high. So for us time frame, I remind you guys what I was seeing here. So this is almost a textbook situation. So we have here the bearish divergence. Let's go on the daily time frame even. Okay, so here MACD going lower, guys. Let me get rid of that. Okay, so MACD going lower since July and the market pushing higher. So this is a bearish divergence that is here, guys. Okay, bam and bam, here higher, here lower, and then we broke out from the wedge pattern. We retested it, and now we are moving lower. So this is still bearish to me. Let's analyze the last day of the week, which was looking like a reversal. I agree, but it's not strong enough for this correction to be over. We need to trade and close on the daily above the orange trend line that is here. So let me put it in blue so you see better this blue trend line. So roughly around 440. So as long as we're below 440, this is bearish, and we're probably going to see lower lows. Once again, I think we're probably going to go to the 420, 400 area within 1 month or 2 months. So this is bullish for AMC, bearish for the global market, but I don't see a very deeper correction than that. I think things will just go better afterwards. So yeah, that's it for here, guys. And now, guys, I have a little surprise for you. I want to introduce you to Gabriel. So Gabriel is an experienced trader that is working with me on Discord. By the way, come there, guys, link in the description, follow us. We are making a lot of analysis for you. We're also managing some portfolios. So of course, we started at the top of the market, so it's not easy, but we are very confident things will go better very soon. So Gabriel is gonna right now talk about Bitcoin and Ethereum, and he's gonna show you how he is doing technical analysis and how he is analyzing the market. So let's get into it.
Hello guys, so I'm Gabriel. I'm basically been helping Andrew for the last 2 months on the channel. So I wanted to give you a quick update on the Bitcoin. As I know, maybe some of you have asked a lot of questions on the channel, and then we've seen a massive move up last Friday. So I just wanted to give you my heads up. So my main scenario basically is this one here, where we are basically in this canal going up. And then basically my view is that we're going to do some kind of cup and handle pattern that you can see here, cup and handle here. So I'm gonna basically show you on a more zoomed version. So that was basically my scenario here. It seems like right now we're bouncing a bit more sooner than expected. So basically what I wanted to check with you guys is whether I think we're going to basically go here much earlier, or if we have more chance to go down. So I was looking basically at liquidation of Bitcoins. This is basically what happened over the last 6 months. And what basically I wanted to look at is what happened basically really, yeah, like Friday, which basically we can see here a small spike, and wanted to see basically if we could find any kind of pattern on those liquidations. So the thing basically is, if we look historically, you can see that there has been a lot of liquidation. So red here means liquidation for the people buying the Bitcoin, and green means liquidation for the people selling the Bitcoin. So you can see that it has been much bias on basically people being liquidating if they were long. And then basically you see here, like during the summer period where basically Bitcoin was low, it's been kind of flattish, and then we see a spike here, and then here it seems kind of flattish. But I think basically the most important part is really what happened now rather than basically in the past. So if I zoom basically this, for the last 3 months, this is what we see. And basically I've highlighted here all the time where we had basically large spike of liquidation for the long, for the short, and then basically to see if we see any pattern. So what may look at is, when we see a large green bar, but on the other side, the red bar pretty small. So basically, I found out that there was 4 times where it happened. So basically, this time here, 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 and there. And what I wanted to see next is what has been the impact on Bitcoin on those days and what happened after that. So if I look at here, basically, I've highlighted in yellow here all the time where we had those liquidation in the past. And what you can see is this is back in basically July, when we start having a large run up on Bitcoin from basically the 30K to around 52K here. And the first time we saw the liquidation, basically this one here, we were basically here. And then the second time, so this one, like the much bigger one, was basically this move here. But basically here, what I like to see is that as soon as basically after a period of calm, we see the short being liquidated, this is basically where the move started. And basically after it went for about a good month. So now basically we know we've been, for the full month of September, we've basically been declining on the Bitcoin. But basically Friday here was the first day since where we see basically the short being kind of liquidated. So my feel is that, it could be basically the same meaning that what happened back then in July, and basically it could be the beginning of a new basically cycle. So that's basically what I'm expecting right now. And then you can see that even after this large pump, we're basically kind of maintaining the range here, which is a good sign. You would have want to see maybe more like this, but I think right now it's kind of good. And what I'm basically expecting in the coming few days, if we're basically going to test the 52K, that we're going to see a massive basically event of like short liquidation. And then that would, I think, validate that theory here that, you see here, there was the first time the short were liquidated small, but then the second time they were liquidated big. So if we see the same here, like here, the short were liquidated small, and then in a few days, we see basically a large spike on the up. I think this is really bullish to basically go really far. So that's basically what I'm expecting. Just wanted to show you basically on Ethereum, basically this is what happened after the liquidation. You see basically Ethereum went basically on the bull run. And then here we can see that after that, we were still on the green candle yesterday. So we'll see what happened today, but basically it's also very positive. Now basically another thing I wanted to look at is basically what happened last year on Bitcoin. just to put in perspective. And then basically here what I highlighted is in 2020 what happened in September and what happened in October. So in September we basically had this kind of similar pattern where basically we went down for the full month of September, and then when we arrived in October, then basically we went bullish. Of course, not saying it's gonna come back the same, but basically it's basically good to do a parallel and see if we can find similitude. So that's also a sign that I like to basically now be long Bitcoin. Another thing I look at is the fear and greed index. So I basically highlighted the 4 same time where basically the short were liquidated. So this is the first time where basically the fear and greed index was basically at the lowest. Second time, and then after basically you can see that we basically went very up. Basically everyone's buying Bitcoin. So now basically we also kind of at the lows when basically we had this large liquidation on the short. So I feel it could basically be a good sign as well. I mean, I didn't explain this index, but basically it's an index that basically is gathering different kind of information and basically look at the sentiment of basically Bitcoin holders. Basically, if they are fearing, means they really are fearing that basically it's gonna go lower, and if they greed, usually means like basically Bitcoin is very high and basically um, people are very greedy, like to buy more to take more leverage. So it's interesting to basically see this index, because whenever basically people are usually fearing, this is usually the best time to buy, and on the opposite, when people are greedy, this is the best time to sell. Another thing I look at is basically the hash rate distribution of Bitcoin. So basically what you can see is since basically July, we're basically recovering a lot. So this is basically, when all the miners came out of China because the government was banning them to mine in China. But since then, basically, we kind of have recovered. So that's a good sign. We're almost at the all-time high, which as well is very positive, in my opinion. And then, oh, why isn't it working? Sorry guys. Sec. Another thing I wanted to look at is basically the coin days destroyed. So not a lot of people do not know this index, but basically this index is basically showing you some kind of metrics of all the people holding the Bitcoin and for how long they've been holding it. And when basically you see spikes, it means that basically the people that have been holding the Bitcoin for a long time are now basically have been selling it. So what actually is interesting here to see is every time you basically in the recent past, every time you see a spike, it tends to basically be followed by a bull run. So you can see here there was a 2 spike here, and then we follow a large run, and then here as well now we have one. So does that mean that we're gonna have another run? That's to see, but I think that's basically a good indication. So as a way I see it is, probably whoever is basically trying to control the market and basically be bearish, whenever basically they see that a lot of people that basically were holding Bitcoin for a long time are basically seeding and selling their coins, they like kind of happy that they do this, and now basically they say, okay, it's time to basically go up. Maybe this is how it works. I'm not 100% sure, but basically by the look of it, it looks like basically this is what's happening here. And finally, another thing. So my main concern right now on Bitcoin is basically the Nasdaq. So you in September this year, we've basically been quite down on the Nasdaq and on the equity indices. So I wanted to basically look at what happened last year on the Nasdaq to basically see if I could put some perspective, something. And basically what I see last year is kind of the same thing that happened. This is Nasdaq for last year in 2020. You can see this is the month of September here and the month of October here. You basically see I have basically plot a support line here that was starting in March, and basically we broke up this support line in September, and then it was kind of very bearish. But at the end of the day, in October we kind of recovered and really recovered after. But on the other side, with the graph I showed you before, you can see that basically even though Nasdaq was down, Bitcoin basically still went up. So as that kind of reconfirmed me in the idea that potentially, even though if the Nasdaq has been correcting for September, there is still some potential for Bitcoin. On my side, what I did though is I bought some protection on Bitcoin, where I bought some puts around the 40K level, but I just bought them for like perspective about 1 to 2 week. Just want to see what happened at the beginning of October, and if basically we're not correcting, I would probably sell my protection. But for now, I like to have those paying a bit of a premium, but just as a protective measure. Yeah, so that's it, guys. So as you can see, I'm quite bullish at this point. So as I say, a few things to look at. If we're gonna see more short being liquidated, which I think would basically confirm basically my view. And then finally, this pattern here, where basically I'm waiting basically that breakout on here, which basically would validate the cup and handle and basically be very bullish. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and let's speak next time.
And that's it for today. So thank you very much for watching. And if you did enjoy this video, please don't forget to click on the sub, like, and bell button so you're going to be the first to know when I upload anything new. And stay close to shore. I'll see you guys.